Hello, my friend, and welcome back to PSYCH Authority. A viewer named Chuck suggested that I do a video about how not being unconditionally loved as a child impacts your entire life and what can therapy do to help you with this. So that is exactly what this video is about. Now first, let's define unconditional love. Unconditional love is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It is love that is not based on any conditions or any expectations. It is given freely without expecting to get anything in return. It is very important that we have unconditional love as a child. Growing up without unconditional love is actually a form of trauma called relational trauma. When we don't experience unconditional love as a child, it can actually have extremely negative effects on us that can stick with us even into our adult lives. And as we go through the upcoming negative effects in this video, remember that we can overcome these negative effects and learn to build healthy relationships and live healthy lives. I will also give a tip for how to overcome each of these negative effects, and then at the end, we will go more in depth about how to heal from these things. Now let's talk about the effects of not being unconditionally loved as a child. The first effect of not having unconditional love as a child is that it makes us have low self-esteem and low self-worth. We may feel insecure and like we are never good enough, or even feel like we don't deserve to be loved. We may feel that we need to do things to earn love from other people, so we may be preoccupied with being very successful or trying to be perfect. It can make us feel like we have to get validation from other people just so we can feel like we are good enough as a human being. Now, this can also manifest as fear of being rejected or abandoned, which makes it even more difficult for us to form healthy attachments and healthy relationships with others. One way to counteract this is by beginning to love and accept ourselves for who we are, flaws and all. This can help us stop looking for other people's acceptance and validation. Now, the next effect of not having unconditional love as a child is related to having low self-esteem. Since we have such low self-esteem, we have a negative relationship with ourselves. We tend to dislike and devalue ourselves. We might feel like we are invisible, and we most definitely will have extremely negative views of ourselves and extremely negative self-talk. Now, we all have an inner voice. And when we have negative self-talk, our inner voice is extremely negative and criticizes everything that we do. Negative self-talk always focuses on the bad things. It's always extremely pessimistic, it robs you of your confidence, and ultimately stops you from being the best version of yourself. If you have a problem with negative self-talk, check out the description below for a link to something called Self-Talk Plus. Self-Talk Plus is designed by Dr. Shad Helmstetter, and it's made to heal negative self-talk. Listening to it for just 15 minutes a day can actually begin to change your life. Now, it takes 3 to 4 weeks for the brain to build new programs, but you will probably notice a difference in your attitude almost immediately and changes in how you're thinking in even a few days of listening. And the longer that you listen, the more permanent these new programs become in your brain. So click the link below to get a free 30-day trial of Self-Talk Plus, and you should be feeling a little better at the end of 30 days. If you want to keep using it after that, it costs $20 a month, or you can buy the whole program for a one-time fee if you don't want to pay monthly. But definitely at least try the 30-day trial because you will feel better at the end of 30 days. I personally do use this every day while I'm getting ready in the morning and while I'm at the gym, and find that it does help a lot. Now, along with negative self-talk, we also find it very difficult to practice self-care, and self-love is out of the question. We actually may feel like we deserve to be in pain because this is how our life is supposed to be. We think this is just the way it is for us. Not only do we feel like we don't deserve love, we might feel like we are physically unable to be loved at all. The next effect of not having unconditional love as a child is that we tend to seek out negative relationships with others. When it comes to other people, we might actually seek out or be attracted to people who will hurt us or who won't care for us the way we need to be cared for. We may actually actively look for romantic partners who have very negative personality traits who will abuse us or undervalue us. It can also make us tolerate negative behavior and abuse from people that others would never tolerate. One way to fix this is to think about the type of people you attract. We often attract and are attracted to people who have the same emotional development as we do. So if we are underdeveloped emotionally, we will likely attract and be attracted to other people who also have poor emotional development. So the best way to fix this is to work on yourself before jumping into a romantic relationship. And then also avoid becoming friends with people who are emotionally toxic. And when it comes to romantic relationships, another way to help fix this is to identify and understand your own attachment style. Check the description below for a link to a video that will help you figure out whether you have a secure, anxious, avoidant, or anxious avoidant attachment style. The next effect of not having unconditional love as a child is we have trouble setting healthy boundaries. We might have a very hard time saying no to other people. We might feel like saying no and setting healthy boundaries for ourselves will cause conflict and ultimately make others reject us. This can make us prioritize other people's needs above our own needs. Now we can fix this by first identifying what our own needs are, and then allow ourselves to prioritize our own needs by being assertive, building our communication skills with others, and then setting healthy boundaries. The next effect of not having unconditional love as a child is that it can make us have trust issues in relationships. Now, this can be any relationship, family, friends, or romantic partners. Growing up without unconditional love makes us have trouble trusting other people. It makes it difficult for us to open up and share our feelings with other people and do anything that makes us vulnerable. This can make us very emotionally distant, and we may appear disconnected to our friends and our loved ones. We are ultimately scared that we are going to be rejected and hurt if we do open up to other people, which makes it very difficult for us to form relationships with other people. It also makes it very hard for us to trust our friends or romantic partners because we live in constant fear that they are going to abandon us and reject us if we don't live up to their expectations. It also makes it hard for us to be intimate, to communicate, and to form a real connection with others. Now, we can help fix this by building our own self-esteem. And one good way to do this is to practice a hobby or a skill and get better at it. Other ways we can help fix this are by developing our communication skills and beginning to seriously address our past traumas. This will help us to learn that we can trust not only ourselves, but we can also trust other people. The next effect of not having unconditional love as a child is that we may have difficulty regulating our emotions and expressing our feelings. Without unconditional love, we probably grew up afraid to express our true emotions. This makes us grow up confused about our own emotions and unable to express them properly as an adult. When we have trouble regulating our emotions, it can make us have extremely intense emotional reactions to very minor things. We may end up suppressing all of our emotions because we are afraid that if we show our emotions, it will make people judge us or reject us. This is extremely unhealthy, and it has a massive impact on our emotional state as a whole. And we can help fix this by learning to stop suppressing our emotions, learning how to identify and regulate our emotions, and then begin developing healthy coping skills. It can also help if we start to communicate more openly with others and make ourselves a little bit more vulnerable. The next effect of not having unconditional love as a child is that we tend to suffer from anxiety and depression. We may feel constant feelings of anxiety and avoid any situation that involves building relationships with others. We may constantly worry that we are making mistakes, and then we become perfectionists. This makes our inner critic even harder on us, and it makes us dwell on every tiny mistake that we ever make. Growing up without unconditional love also makes it difficult for us to form a positive self-image about ourselves, which leads to constant negative thoughts and emotions, which leads to depression. Now, we can help this by learning how to accept ourselves for who we are, and by learning how to love ourselves. And the final effect that we're going to go over of not having unconditional love as a child is that we have an increased risk of developing other mental disorders. In some cases, it can lead to developing disorders later on in life, like borderline personality disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, phobias, dissociative symptoms, and even substance abuse. So now let's talk about breaking the cycle. Here are 3 ways to heal from childhood trauma of not receiving unconditional love. Now, the first one is therapy and counseling. A trained therapist or counselor can provide a safe and supportive environment for us to explore and address our experiences, feelings, and beliefs about love and relationships. One effective therapy technique that can be helpful is cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, and specifically cognitive processing therapy, or CPT. CBT and CPT can help us identify negative thoughts and beliefs about ourselves that may have been formed as a result of not receiving unconditional love, and then we can work to challenge and replace those thoughts with positive and healthier ones. Other types of therapy, such as psychoanalytic therapy, humanistic therapy, and family systems therapy, can also be helpful. Now, the specific type of therapy recommended will depend on your unique experiences and your personal needs. So, how can this help? Therapy can help us develop healthy coping mechanisms, improve our self-esteem, learn how to set boundaries in relationships, and it can ultimately help us cultivate more positive and fulfilling relationships with ourselves and with others. So, how do you do it? The first step is to reach out to a therapist or counselor to get the ball rolling. Now, you can do therapy in person, but you can also do it online. The free therapist directory can help you find a qualified specialist in your area, and Regain is one place that you can go to get therapy online. Check the description below for links to both of these, or you can just search for Therapist for Adults with Childhood Trauma near me on Google, or you can search for Online Therapist for Adults with Childhood Trauma to find more resources. Now, the next way to begin healing is by building a support network. Building a strong support network can be a crucial part of our healing journey. A support network can consist of trusted family members, friends, or even support groups or online communities that provide a safe and understanding space. So, how can this help? A support network can provide us with a sense of belonging and connectedness. It can offer emotional support for us and validation, and it can help us learn healthy relationship dynamics and boundaries. By surrounding ourselves with positive and supportive individuals, we can build healthy relationships and learn to heal and grow from our past experiences. So, how do you do it? Building a support network can involve reaching out to trusted family members or friends, attending support groups or therapy, or joining online communities that focus on healing and self-improvement. The key here is to surround ourselves with people who provide a safe and supportive environment and who can offer validation, empathy, and understanding for our experiences. Now, remember that maintaining a support network also requires effort and commitment. It's very important that we keep in touch with the people in the network and that we communicate openly and honestly with them in order for us to get the most benefit out of the network. Also, we need to remember to set healthy boundaries for ourselves when we are interacting with these people, and we need to practice self-care. And the final way to heal that I will mention in this video is through self-reflection and personal growth. By taking the time to reflect on our own past experiences and our emotions, we can gain insight into how our past experiences have impacted our present life, and then we can work towards creating a more fulfilling and positive future for ourselves. So, how can it help? Self-reflection and personal growth can help us develop a stronger sense of self-awareness, help us build resilience and coping skills, and learn to prioritize our own needs and our own well-being. So, how do you do it? Self-reflection and personal growth can involve many different things, such as journaling, meditation, therapy, or even things like art or music. The key here is to find what works best for you and then commit to regular practice and reflection. Now, it can be difficult to confront past experiences and our emotions, and it can take time to develop new habits and coping strategies. But if we are dedicated and we have proper support, we can learn to overcome these challenges and create a more fulfilling and positive life. Remember that while childhood experiences can have a significant impact on our adult lives, it is not set in stone. We do have the ability to change our future experiences and create positive outcomes through therapy, self-reflection, and personal growth. By working through our past traumas and developing healthy coping mechanisms, we can overcome negative experiences and then begin to cultivate positive ones. So, let me know your thoughts on unconditional love in the comments below, because I would love to hear from you. Please do share this video if you have found it helpful, and then you can click here to watch another great psychology video, and I will see you there.